So I wanted to read out these two comments. So this is going to be one video and another video, and these are two actually very meaningful comments and something which made me think, and I decided to make a video and share my thoughts on it so that maybe you can also learn something from it. So I'm going to start with the first one, which was from the user Veena Art. And this person writes that there's a time in the life of an entrepreneur without physical business when it's definitely attractive to move to a country like Romania, but many tend to come back once they want to send their kids to school or grow older and need frequent access to doctors. Regarding mail from German authorities, after being self-employed and running two companies in Germany for many years, it happens super rarely that anything unexpected is in the mail. If payment plans are set up properly, all you get are basically receipts. I'd prefer them as an email instead of paper, but that's still far away from something that would drive me out of the country. Definitely agree on the importance of having a motivated tax advisor no matter where you are. The times I had to pay late penalties to the Finanzamt were actually because my tax advisor forgot to do their job. Overall, I guess there are always trade-offs to be made between infrastructure, quality of life, being near loved ones, and direct financial benefits. Thanks for sharing your insights. By the way, as a freelancer or entrepreneur in Germany, you can always opt into the pension system and have basically the same deal as an employee. The reason why many don't do it is because it's simply not a very good deal, and you are usually better off putting that money in your own savings, real estate, etc. So this was a very good comment, and this is also one of the reasons I actually enjoy making videos on brand advice, because you generally get across people who also have their own experience in business, finances, and have a little bit more nuanced opinion, because life is never that simple. Everything is on a spectrum when you're thinking about these kind of like bigger life topics, and that's why I wrote a big comment to that. Thank you for your inputs. Would you be up for a video together sometime? I think it could turn out to be a very interesting discussion, and I think that goes for each one of you. So if you think you have a very nice story and I don't know, you already have your experiences in business, finance, things like that, I'd be happy to speak to you and like have a video together. So we can also share these inputs with other people. You can drop me an email at bharat@brandadvice.com. About the story of Romania being attractive for digital business, it is 100% true, but also the story that this is not going to be probably a forever thing. My wife, who also has her own company in Romania, is already getting registered in Denmark from January 2024 as the family planning starts, and we personally find Denmark to be the safest country so far in EU to build a family. Prices for everything are ridiculous though, from handyman to groceries and taxes. Healthcare I also do not think is the best there. I think rarely any country comes close to India. That's actually really true, because the thing is, like, the benefit we had of like traveling to so many countries so far was that we could see every single country, and because we do not just like travel there, we actually go there and we live for a few months. So generally, like 2 to 3 months we are staying there, we're living there. And in these 2 to 3 months, you generally have to go to the hospital, you have to go to the doctor, whatever, like all sorts of like random things which you don't want and don't expect happen, and then you have to go. So if I've seen all of these different countries, I think the country where I've seen you can get like doctor appointments right the same day, like you don't have to make appointment, you just walk in, you wait, and you go to the doctor and you pay the money and everything is done. And that's a country I find is India. Like all of this entire concept of like waiting for 6 months, waiting for a month, 2 months for ultrasound and things like that. I also get like ultrasound and stuff done in Germany in a cancer prevention clinic because I have something with the lymph nodes. So I have to go there and like, get things done. And of course, like, it is pretty affordable. I think I just pay like 20 euros or 40 euros or something, which is ridiculous price for ultrasound. And it's pretty cheap, and I pay it in a private clinic. But the problem comes that like it's such long waiting timings, and every single person I've spoken to from Germany who is older, they all told me that things didn't used to be this bad at all. Like things didn't used to be that if you're going to the emergency room in a hospital in Germany, that you're sometimes waiting for like 4, 6, 8 hours before getting treated. So these kind of stories make me really think that, okay, like, there is not a country that you'll find which is perfect for everything. And that's why I kind of summarized everything. So it said like, heaven would be Romanian taxes, German education, universities or job opportunities, safety of Denmark, healthcare from India, weather of Mallorca, humility of the Japanese, and friendliness of the Americans. But of course, Like all of these things in one single country you can simply not find. That's like wishing for fairyland, but it doesn't exist. If you think about like another dimension now, the another dimension is going to be like you just simply add more money. Like you add money to the system to a level that you do not have to worry about taxes, right? Like that's one less constraint that you have to worry about. That means you can like go to more places. And if, for example, taxes wouldn't be a concern at all, I think like Switzerland, I also find a very interesting country to be in because it's really, really beautiful. I always wanted to stay in Bayern or Baden-Württemberg. I never got the opportunity of doing that because life happens, you have other places to be at and so on. But like if I could have, I would have lived in South Germany. And Switzerland, the nature, the landscape, things like that, that's very close to South Germany. So that's something that I would have done. So Switzerland could be an interesting option, but this becomes a good option for you when you are able to pay the 400,000 euros flat tax easily. Now, if I'm making €1 million a year, I cannot pay 400,000 euros in flat tax. Like if I would have to do that, then I can also like stay in Germany and like, you know, do all of the other things. But if I'm making, so because that becomes like almost 40% of my income. But all of a sudden, if now I'm making 10 million euros per year, 400,000 is just 4% of my income. So I'd be very happy to go to Switzerland like once I'm making 10 million euros, but I do not think that it's going to happen anytime soon or some miracle, whatever. Or I have to come across some crazy opportunity. Who knows? Something can happen. This comment was very insightful because I also like completely acknowledge that there's a time when you start deciding that, okay, like, you know, money is not everything and there are other things that you have to prioritize, like being near the family, things like that. And that's why I also always tell you guys that there's never going to be one single country which is going to fulfill your purpose in every single phase of your life. If you're going into that direction, like if some country is doing that for you in one phase of life, does not mean, or like can even mean in the next phase of the life, that country just becomes your ball and chains and you simply cannot move as fast as you could previously because that country does not prioritize that particular phase of your life. For example, going from being a student to an entrepreneur. Like entrepreneur, I don't know, I just did not like the experience of having my companies in Germany, my business in Germany at all. So that's why this is something I'm never going to do. But at the same time, like if your family is there, like would you do all of this drama with like Romania and things like that and say, all right, like I'm going to like give up on the time I spend with my family and like, you know, stay registered in Romania or something, or like live my life in Romania? Who knows? Some people might do it for a few years. But I think like long term, this is definitely going to be something where you have to figure out a more permanent solution with multiple companies or something like that. Like there has to be a better way of solving things. But as long as you're young, as long as you have a little bit more freedom, as long as you have a little bit more flexibility of opening shops, closing shops, moving to places, things like that, then I think that's a good option. So this is something I wanted to share with you guys because of course, many people think that, or many people even come to Germany as students, right? Like many people come to Germany for studies, they come for jobs, things like that. But now you're doing a job or you're a student and all of a sudden like you come across a crazy business idea or like the business that you started in Germany really started running. Then I think it is your responsibility to yourself, like you owe it to yourself to figure out a place where you can grow a little bit bigger. Because I was not born into money. Like all of the money that I earned myself. I did not inherit. I do not come from a rich family. So that's why this move to Romania was even more important for me, because I realized that if I don't do it right now, then this is going to be something where I'm going to simply miss out on building any kind of generational wealth. I think it's extremely important to remember that whatever money that you're making right now, that you invest it in places that it is going to make the life of your future self a little bit easier. And that's the reason I decided to go to Romania. Like I knew that if I didn't go to Romania, if I stayed in Germany, like all of the money is just going to get eaten up in taxes, and so many taxes, and what I get out of that taxes is ridiculous. But if I'm making 100,000 euros per year, up to 100,000 euros or something, I would have been very happy to be in Germany, because I would not have a better quality of life if I would have moved to Romania, because most of the things are private. The social system is not that great. The healthcare, debatable. I mean, you still have to pay for everything yourself. It's most of the things are private. Safety, you hear a lot of nice things on internet, especially from like as soon as Andrew Tate became famous, that everybody's like hearing only nice things about Romania. But trust me, like there's also a reason why many people, so many people, like so many Romanians move from Romania to Western Europe because of the opportunities and things like that. So it is also not that like, you know, everything is just like super safe. You meet weird people many times. From weird people, I mean people who want to scam you. For example, the story with my interior designers right now in the apartments. So I hired this interior designer, signed the contract with them like in starting of June, and it's November now. It's almost like, you know, 5 more months. And these people are not getting things done when the contract was for 2 months and 15 days. So 2.5 months. And it's like 5 months now. But what can you do? Like, I was stupid at that time because I did not speak to my lawyer while signing the contract, because I was okay, like, you know, these were referred to me by the developers of the apartment building. And they said like they have done like 55 other apartments and they do it really fast and things like that, and they can do it cheap. And it's like, okay, great. That sounds like a great option. But the result is that I'm like still sitting on 2 apartments which are not making me any kind of money right now. So these kind of like things happen in Romania, and I find the honesty in Germans and Danes and stuff like so much higher than what I have seen in many Romanians. Of course, I know some very honest Romanians too. That's why I have my company there, my lawyers, my accountant, things like that. I'm really happy with the work that they're doing, but otherwise like the general experience is really not that great. But on the other hand, like, you know, the trust in the society, I personally feel like is much higher in Denmark. And like if you go to rural like Germany, like, you know, you go to the villages and stuff where everybody knows everybody, like people are so much more trusting with these things than if you would do the same thing in Romania as a foreigner. I think you can have a much better life as a foreigner in I don't know, Denmark, Germany and so on, than you would have as a foreigner if you're going to Romania in the rural. The story about doctors, I don't believe that Germany has the best healthcare system. I also do not think Denmark has the best healthcare system and things like that. And mainly I'm talking about the access to the doctors and the waiting timings. And this is the reason I personally think like maybe it is not a bad idea to really try to pick and choose the best of every single country. I made this list for you, right? Like I said these like weather of this, education of this, things like that. Like maybe it is not so difficult to like put all of these things together. What do I mean by this? You don't have to have all of these things at the same time in your surroundings. If you want to get some like health checkups done, things like that, you can go to your own home country. Like I'm going to go to India to get a few things done. Hopefully my eye operation, things like that. I have a few things in mind. Some cyst has to go out here. A few things I have planned, but let's see like what I'm able to do. So like these kind of like trips can be made. Then you can really think about having a base in a place where you feel safe. I think that's very important. Taxes and stuff can be arranged still a little bit. About like humility of the people, I don't think like you have any kind of control over how the people are going to react to you. I think the only thing you can control is your reaction to what those people do. So these are a few thoughts I had. So of course a bit nuanced topic, because it's life, you know, like there are going to be different things which are going to be important to you in different kind of phases of your life. But I think if you just sit in the same place, like this is something I'm not a huge fan of at all, that you think about just sitting in the same place and you say, okay, like things are bad, but also things are good here, things like that. You just have to simply recognize in this stage, what is the most important thing for me? For me, in this stage, the most important thing was to move to Romania, because if I would have never moved to Romania, I would have never been able to keep anything that I made. And now I kept the things I made, and they're going to stay there in one form or the other, hopefully. This would not have been possible if I said, all right, like, you know, I'm too scared to move. I'm too scared to pack my bags, pack my cats, take my wife and like, you know, go to Romania or something. then it would have been extremely difficult to have built anything. So indecisiveness is a lot more dangerous than making any kind of decision whatsoever. So if you're like sitting in the same place, not making a decision whatsoever, that's really costing you, especially if you're in a stage where you know that something is working out, you see some kind of action in the business, you see some kind of like ideas, things like that. And if you're not doing anything, then it's a shame. I think you should do something about it, because nobody else is going to sit down and tell you, hey, like, do something for yourself. That is something that has to come from inside, or from me right now, right? So this is pretty much it. If you want to speak to me or something, you will find the links for that in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.